Hi, I'm Eric Goldberg, and we are going to learn how to draw Louis the trumpet-playing alligator from The Princess and the Frog. Now, most animated characters start with a circle for the cranium, but I actually don't draw Louis that way. Louis was my character in the film. I kind of start from a weird end, and then everything comes out from there. So I'm actually going to start with the tip of his nose, which is kind of like a rounded triangle, like so. Now you'll notice that I'm drawing very, very lightly because I'm going to go back in and put more detail on it as we go forward. So now we're going to draw his very broad bridge of his nose, like so. Now, alligators have kind of built-in sneers. So I'm going to draw a little sneer like this on the bottom part of that nose piece, and another sneer kind of built in like that goes even behind it. The next thing I would do is do his eyes, which are kind of like two ping pong balls that sit at the top of the bridge of that nose. Now I'm drawing his mouth part on the other side there. Alligators also have this little rounded cheek thing which I could use for expression, and then wrap around with these kind of C shapes, kind of elongated, squashed C shapes like that. Then I would go ahead and put in his eyebrows, but he also had eye ridges. And again, we're thinking three-dimensionally here. So you think almost like this is a rounded box here and here, and there's two of those. Now I'll go ahead and put in his cranium behind that. But I wanted to get all that construction right first. I'm going to add his nostrils now, and the nostrils on an alligator kind of lay pretty flat on the front part of his nose. So I'm going to put one here, kind of a curve, and then another curve on top of it, and then just a peak of this part from the other side. Now, one of the big mistakes that I did when I was first designing Louis, and my animator compatriots called me on it, was that I was doing alligator cliches, but he didn't look enough like a gator. I found out upon further study that an alligator's jaw is hinged way back here behind the eyes. And when I did that, oh my goodness, he actually started looking a lot more gator-like. And I'll give him a bottom lip here as well, which kind of parallels that mouth shape. Now, another mistake that I made is that I combined his chin and his neck. Wrong. An alligator has a chin, which I like to put under his big mouth. And then he has a big bull neck around it. So it's kind of lots of layers of fat, if you will. Now I'm going to start adding the details and tying it down. So let's go ahead and darken his nostrils there. Now, one thing an alligator has, of course, is teeth. So he's got one long one, two short ones, and one long one in the front. He's got three that stick out from under that sneer. He's got another three that stick out from that back part of the mouth. And you know, when we're animating this stuff, we have to count all this stuff. We have to make sure every drawing has the correct number of teeth and scales. Go to the bottom of his mouth, and he has 4 teeth, like the front teeth. 1 long, 2 short, and 1 long. They're kind of like curved triangles or curved V's. Now let's go ahead and finish off his eyes. He's got a little bit of an eyelash on top to help give him expression. Michael Leon Woolley, who was the actor who did his voice, was absolutely terrific. And even though he didn't look like Louis, he's still a huge guy, and he walked into the room, and man, he really was Louis. So you can see I've put some pupils into those big ping pong balls there. I'm going to darken down his eyebrows a little bit. Now, over here, I'll darken this cheek down, darken this cheek down, and what should he have under this side of his mouth as well, if we're thinking three-dimensionally? 3 teeth sticking out. Now, I'm going to do what we call in animation a color sep, meaning a separated area of color within a larger shape. So Louis has a darker green part on top and a lighter green part underneath. So here's the color sep behind that nostril, and then here is the color sep that leads into the mouth. Now, one thing he doesn't have yet is a tongue. So I would make it like one shape curving like this and another shape kind of curving in the opposite way to show the depression in his tongue. And then his bottom lip. And he also has a color sep coming out from under his cheeks here and here. Now, before I mentioned scales, so yes, Louis does have scales and a consistent number of them. From this view, we might see one small one, one large one, one small one, and a peak of the large one sticking out behind. The other thing I might draw is the inside of his mouth, which is like a circle tucked back in there behind the teeth. And we'll draw a little bit of Louis's top half as well. One thing animator Andreas Deja gave me a clue on, which was great, was do it in sections. Don't just make him fat like this. Give a little section that has a break and then draw his big belly. And again, that made it feel more like an alligator. Now let's talk about his arms and legs. Again, this is a caricature of an alligator. So an alligator has this huge body and huge head and these teeny weeny little arms and legs, okay? So he's got these almost like little baby arms sticking out and these even tinier hands. It's like I'm drawing kind of a curved starfish here. And he would have a little inside to the bottom of his hands, and you just close these off here for his claws. And we'll go ahead and give him an arm on the other side too. And you can see I'm making something, you know, where first of all it fits into this part of his skin here. And you can indicate that on the other side. And making his forearm there. And now we'll go ahead and do a similar kind of splayed starfish shape, except over here we'll leave a little more space and put his thumb that way, and then the inside of his palm, and close these off for claws. Oh, one thing I forgot, all right? The last detail I need to put on here for Louis, and those of you who might be jazz aficionados might know what this is. This is just a little curved line. That's Louis's lip, because he's been playing the trumpet so long, it's made an impression in the front of his lip, like all the great trumpet players have. And that is how you draw our big old gator, Louis.